At King's Landing, Queen Yara Greyjoy goes then to meet with Tyrion. Well, long time to see you here. I thought you would have been executed by now. So did I, but apparently I was pardoned by, well, former King Brandon Stark. Yeah, so I've heard. I take it then you're here for official business. Yes, I am in charge of installing the new Iron Throne of Swords. And Lord, or former, I would imagine, Hand of the King, I do not want any interference. We do not come to waste our time. So, as long as you can make sure that everyone stays out of the throne room, we can get this job done as quickly as possible, and we will be on our way. Very well. Don't let me stand in your way. So Terry just steps aside, and as Queen Yara Greyjoy then goes on forward, and several men are carrying or moving something on a cart, something that the cart they probably borrowed is covered in black, heavy canvas type tarp or something, and is being pushed along, as well as drawn by horses, towards the Red Keep. No one's allowed to peek, and thus they stay out of Queen Yara Greyjoy's way as they make their way to what will be the brand new throne room. Well, the cousin to Queen Mary of House Weber, which is the wife and queen to King Johnston, both of which are at House Tully with now former King Brandon, the three-eyed raven who has accepted the title as Lord Brandon Stark, comes up alongside Tyrion. Well, that was rather short and cordial. Yes, indeed. So, is she always like this? Oh, believe me, she used to be a lot worse. Don't let her being a woman fool you one bit. She's just as vicious as any of her uncles. That's why she managed to survive. I see. Then he spots the husband of Queen Yara Greyjoy. Is there a problem? Not as long as you don't get in our way, as my wife and queen said. We're just standing right here. Good. See to it you don't get in our way because we want to get this done and over. I don't like King's Landing, but that's just me. So he continues on his way. Tyrion and the cousin to Queen Mary just merely look at each other, both shake their heads, and continue on their way. In the meantime, the scene changes inside the Red Keep, and Sam and his wife, Gilly, are in the meeting room, just kind of going over some plans that they have for when Queen Daenerys Targaryen takes over the new Iron Throne, as she cannot take over the old one because it was melted, and making their way with her child, of which he adopted, and the child between them, back to the Wall, to Castle Black and the Brothers of the Night's Watch. Then they hear some kind of commotion up above, with the floor slightly rattling. Do you hear that? That sounds like rather heavy. Yes, I wonder what's going on up there. Nobody's been in the throne room, even when King Brandon was still king. Do you think that could be this new Iron Throne of Sword that is finally being delivered? Yes, well, I don't suppose it would hurt if we look and peek. So they make their way upstairs. Then Queen Yara kind of notices that they kind of look around the corner, but then duck around the corner. Well, I hope we weren't spotted. But then she comes around. Peeking, is that what a maester does? I would not mean no harm. It's okay, you're going to see it soon enough. As long as, like I told former Hand of the King, Tyrion Lannister. As long as no one gets in our way, we want to get this done as soon as possible. She shows then a photo of how the throne itself looks. That's it. What, were you expecting something all in gold? No, I mean, it looks, well, I never did like the other one. Can't say I much like this one either. Well, it's not up to you to like. May I see it? Well, Sam, you have to admit, this one compared to the other one is a little more, well, a little more decorative, but it does seem a bit somewhat sinister. Yar just takes the drawing from her. Well, this is what it will look like when we get everything put into place of the throne room. Oh, well, I'm not sure what to say. Gilly takes a look at it as well. Wow, now that's almost like something similar to, wasn't it her father who had dragons in the throne room, King Aerys II? Yes, except these dragons are a little more, as we might say, royal and majestic. Not so much just the heads. Well, we promise we won't get in your way, and it'll be a sight to behold once it's all installed. Yes, indeed. Before we go on our way, though, we will take advantage of some rest and relaxation, and it would seem that a brothel has reopened. I'm trying to convince my husband that just because we're married does not mean we can't enjoy the many pleasures available and still remain husband and wife. Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. Yes, and I already told Sam if he goes in those places, I'll cut his balls off. uh, well, as you can see, I'm not allowed in there. Well, that's a shame. I guess that would only make sense. The last maester didn't seem to have any worries about that. But I guess that proves just how noble you are. So, with that and a strange comment that Sam had to endure from his wife, then the scene changes and is end of this scene. As Arya Stark and this nomadic prince and his guard with other nomad men make it into the citadel, they are now in King's Landing, yet still a ways off from Arya reaching her goal to go back to House Stark. Then she starts a conversation with Samdune, who is the bodyguard to his prince, but also an escort guard for Arya Stark's safe return. Well, you certainly know how to draw attention to yourself. What do you mean by that? Well, you were staring at that lady knight. Well, it just seems kind of unusual for her to be in armor. Well, you shouldn't be surprised. I know of one that's even taller than you, and she's on Knights of the King's Guard with King Brandon. So is it common for women to decide to do that of a man? Why shouldn't it be? Do you think I am anything less than who I am? No. Good. So, as I said, you know where you can put that. Besides, you better get used to people staring at you. We don't get nomads in here. And people are going to look at you strangely, so long as you don't raise a hand or make a sudden movement to where they might think you're an enemy. You and your nomad prince here will not be in any danger. All right, point well taken. Yes, well, thank you, Arya Stark. You know these lands better than we do. I think it's best we follow her advice. Yes, yeah, Your Grace, I would agree. And so they continue on their journey, which they have to go through the Reach. At Castle Black, Jon Snow, or in this case, Aegon VII Targaryen, is notified by those seeing riders coming up from the other side of the wall, and as they raise the gates, he is informed that it would appear that the Freys, who went after the bodies of those that or with Big Walder Frey, which caused this whole mess and terror to begin with, have returned. After some time, they come through the other gate, and after pulling about 3, which would look like type of sleds, 4 sleds to be totaled, come to a stop. Well, I take it all went well. Yes, and I never want to set foot in that place again. Can't say I blame you. Well, you got what you want. I suppose there's no reason you for to be lingering here now. No, I have no intentions of sticking around here, since very seldom do we have anybody of House Frey sent to the wall. But we believe they should have at least a decent burial. It took much effort, and I can sure with plenty of men to guard against anything else that might be creeping out of there. That place is cursed, and nobody should ever enter in there. Well, for once there's something we can agree on. Well, much as this is going to sound odd for me to say, my condolences for your loss. Yes, well, as I said before, when we went to retrieve their bodies, Big Walder Frey is restricted to the castle, and he'll be lucky if he's not banished from the kingdom. If anything, our current Lord King may have him banished but reassigned to that of the last known lord and his wife Jenna Lannister. However, we have heard that he no longer holds House Tully, that he was given the old abandoned wasteland of, well, the one that has been known to torture people until your sister Sansa Stark took care of him with his own dogs. Yeah, well, not to say that he didn't deserve it. I couldn't agree with you more. But that's where that will be decided after we hold some funeral services. Well, you do know there's a battle going on, don't you? Yes, so I've heard. We have taken interest, and we had planned on this ahead of time, because since it was this thing, this evil beast, or whatever it was that attacked them, even though it was theirs and Big Walder's fault for sticking their nose where it didn't belong and messing with things that should have been well left alone. We believe we have the right to some vengeance ourselves. So, as we already know that you have a half-brother from former Prince Rhaegar, we have decided to send some men to exact some of our own vengeance upon this thing that walks among us. And this way, at least we'll have done our part. Well, I would say try not to get yourself killed, but yes, I know. Starks do not like Freys ever since the Red Wedding. But mind you, we did not participate in that, nor did we agree with what he had done, this old Lord King Walder Frey. I suppose it'll be many centuries before the Freys are ever trusted again. However, we are working on trying to erase such a black mark against us. Well, I suppose there's nothing else to be said then. No, I suppose not. We will take our leave. We have collected our dead. Best of luck and wishes to you, Jon Snow or Aegon VII, whichever title you're going by. Here at Castle Black, we don't do titles, nor have claims to lands. So, the tradition still holds then. Very well then. I'll just simply call you Lord Snow. So, with that, he merely waves his right hand, and it not only signals the others to move forward, but as a type of farewell, and the gates, outer gates are open, and they take their leave of Castle Black. At the time during the continued strenuous and tedious battle on the battlefield was the Dark Lord Valdarr, and his Legion of Doom forces, though very few have been killed, and yet many are losing their lives on Prince Aegon VI forces. The Frey Vengeance forces arrive in a cloud of dust, and almost twice the amount of forces than what Queen Margaery of House Tyrell had, since they never were attacked by Queen Daenerys at the time of the incident at the Red Keep, prior to the Queen Cersei, the one who was killed at the time, or before that, the White Walker War. So at this time, as the Frey forces reinforcements arrive, and in a nod of agreement by Prince Aegon VI's best friend, Lord Edric Baratheon, as he's known, the Freys waste no time, and armor and shields clash suddenly. Oh, the game's afoot. Good. More fresh meat to feast on. And we shall drink the blood of those filthy Freys. Reinforcements, strengthen the line. We will start with them as the first appetizer of their flesh. Upon seeing how, during the musical scene, that the Freys never once lost a whole bunch of men, as it was with Starks, Lannisters, during the incident where before Queen Daenerys got killed by her own nephew, Jon Snow, also known as Aegon VII, and with the White Walker War of the past, the Freys retained much of their veterans as well as new fresh blood, trained soldiers. And seeing how shields and armor are clashing, they are putting up a pretty good stance. This begins to piss Valdarr off. Evasive action! Now send the horn! I'm getting tired of this crap. This victory is supposed to be ours, and I will resume my target with this dead queen of dragons. Yes, my lord. And so with that, a horn is blown. Blow the special signal. We're going to throw everything we got at them. Let's see if they can take on it all. So with that, the Blood Scout turns to the horn and gives the signal. Blow the annihilation horns. And so, with that, the horn is given a signal. As Prince Aegon VI Targaryn, and both from a distance, Lord Edric Baratheon, the brother to Gendry Baratheon, seemed to see the new taxis coming up like a split V, but leaving the opening still to entrap Prince Aegon VI, which Lord Valdarr is still counting on. They move into a split B, one to hold back the forces of Prince Aegon VI, leaving the opening for him, and Lord Edric Baratheon. Lord Edric Baratheon then rallied his horses on a much majestic, somewhat way, because he's always one to bring attention to himself, which in this case is probably not a bad thing. Then it gives notice to the special forces in black armor of Prince Aegon VI, the reserves, to also join in to meet this oncoming horde that's starting to move towards them. And it is everything that they've got, as there is nothing left. Good. Now, sound the victory horn of the seven hells. Annihilate the filthy phrase. Yes, my lord. seeing how Aegon VI Targaryn and his best friend Edric Baratheon, who is the Lord, is now about to be ensnared into a trap or in a V pattern ambush, decides that take her two new dragons and her all-white she-dragon, and they take flight, ready to give assistance. And thus, the army, the whole of the Legion of the Doom, of the Dark Lord Valdarr, continues pushing forward, and the Freys are now being pushed back. As the whole Legion now, in such a massed group, is moving forward, the Freys are now halted and are not advancing forward and are starting to be pushed back. During that time, Drogon and its mate return and join Queen Daenerys as they rain fire from 5 dragons total upon the siege weapons, and eventually all the siege weapons of the Dark Lord Valdarr, as finally been destroyed. This then causes him to be greatly angered, and finally he decides this is the time for him to claim his first victory. "That's right, dead queen. Come forward, and I shall strike you and your dragon down. Remember, Bloodclot, as soon as I throw this spear of darkness to the dead Queen of Dragons, you be ready for Prince Aegon VI, for I know he's going to try to come to be the stupid, foolish hero that he wants to be." "Yes, my master, and then we shall take him down." "Exactly. With a prince and a queen gone, victory should assuredly be ours." And so with that, he takes aim and watches as Daenerys starts to come closer, as she's also burning out most of the Legion, trying not to get the phrase, which she is quite surprised as Jordan voices, or any of Prince Aegon's forces, or anyone else that happens to be near the front lines. Prince Aegon, seeing what is about to happen, has a hard choice to make. Does he stand with his what's left of his men, or try to save his aunt? So this being the first time that they've ever met, he finally makes a judgment call and decides that it is best for him to try to save his aunt from being struck down and she be killed again. "Lord Meleys, I want you to take over command." "I beg your pardon, Prince Aegon. If I don't stop him, he's going to kill Queen Daenerys." "Yes, but you can't kill him. He is not one of us. He is from old ancient Valyria, and only Lilith has the tools for that. Yes, I may not be able to kill him, but I certainly will injure him and give him an incentive. Perhaps he'll miss his mark. This is an order. If I should fall, you're in command." "Yes, your grace. I understand and will comply." "Very good. You've been a good knight, and a very trustworthy friend indeed." So with that, then he rides off to jump over the front line and charge towards Valdarr. At that time, Valdarr then gets ready to cast the Spear of Darkness, having zeroed in on a perfect target. At that time, what he doesn't realize is Aegon, unaware to him, because he's so asphyxiated on killing Queen Daenerys, quickly jumped off his horse with his Valyrian sword drawn, and with one swipe, cuts him in the most weak area behind his armor on one of his leg tendons. This causes him to throw a very poorly thrusted spear as it travels, and in slow motion the scene shows the big, large black spear barely going over Queen Daenerys' head as she's flying, and she looks shocked. This could have ended her life once again. He's not happy, and then comes to realize he missed, then quickly looks towards Prince Aegon VI, who quickly jumps on his horse, and as Bloodclot tries to take him down, he manages to kill Bloodclot with one thrust of his sword to the Bloodclot's chest, thus killing him instantly. Then rides back to jump over the front lines again to his own side. "Not so fast, Prince Aegon. You may have big balls, but this is the end of your time." And so with that, he throws perfect straight alignment while getting back off his one knee that fell to the ground, a wicked-looking dagger, and suddenly, it plunges forward, and Aegon looks down, surprising to see something sticking out of his armor, and looks at his right hand as he feels his armor, and it's wet with blood. He slightly slumps over his horse, riding slowly to the front. You should have heeded. I cannot be killed, for I am a god. Now, time to see if I could strike again. One prince down, one dead queen to go. About that time, Lord Edric Baratheon, formerly known as Storm, is fighting. He notices that there's something wrong and sees that Prince Aegon VI has slumped over his horse, knowing that he must have gotten injured. In slow motion, the scene shows him hollering, Aegon! As he charges forward with his sword drawn, thinking he's going to strike at the Dark Lord. But that in itself is a mistake, and the Dark Lord, seeing him coming, takes the back of his armored, spiked medieval metal greaves and smacks Lord Edric Baratheon so hard that he literally flies backwards, dropping his sword over several of the chaos of fighting Legion of Doom soldiers and those of Aegon VI Targaryn soldiers, bouncing off a large boulder and disappearing within the crowd. Ha ha! Foolish! Some pathetic fool you are, coming to the aid of your prince. Don't worry, you'll be joining him soon. He's gonna die, and now you will too. Meanwhile, during the chaos of the fighting, Lilith, the flame goddess, gives the signal for her long-lost brother, the many-faced god, to take the Spear of Judgment and make haste up this outcrop of rocks to get a good leverage to leap upon the Dark Lord. Then she challenges him by calling him over. If you want to destroy somebody and you think you are god enough, or is that a man, considering I am the one who's the goddess, then why don't you prove it by coming forward, Valdarr? This angers him, and he sees Lilith, and little does he know that at that time, the many-faced god jumps off what looks like an outcrop or cliff and throws the spear dead in its mark. Does not matter what the type of armor it is, because as Lilith told Aegon VI a while back, it is an unusual spear, and it would not be fair in any common battle. But it will go through any armor that is known or unknown. And it hits this mark. Oh! And he falls to the ground with a loud thump and clattering of armor. Many-faced god then rushes back, takes the necklace jewel off its chain, as does Lilith. He places the red one into the set Staff of the Abyss, and then Lilith takes hers and does the same. The next thing that happens is that a static type sound starts erupting, and then like lightning bolts strike the other half-circled jewels, and then encompasses the Dark Lord Valdarr, which he doesn't realize is also going to summon something that he once summoned himself, but this time it will only answer the call to who holds the power of the Spear of Judgment and the Staff of the Abyss. The sky suddenly turns dark as, after Dark Lord Valdarr circled, one of the bolts shoots straight up from the Staff of the Abyss into the sky, and like a curtain of bright light, a loud explosion sound erupts, causing everybody to, on Aegon VI's side and those of allies, to get away from what appears to be the ground splitting open and everything falling into a dark crevice with a horrible stench like death, decay, blood. Anything that you could think of that would make a horrid stench. And as it's now dark, something emerges much taller than Lord Valdarr, the Dark Lord Visir, and it is the most peculiar sight ever. Well, here I am, many centuries and eons I have waited for this day. He looks towards Valdarr. You failed me for the last time, Valdarr. Whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean? I've almost got this battle defeated. Yes, and you fell to your knees, and now I am summoned by one who has summoned me with a powerful tool that has not been used since the dawn of the ages at the end of the Valyrian doom. But I summoned you. But you are not the one that summoned me now. The spear of judgment has marked you, shows you are a failure, and you failed me for the last time. The first failure when you summoned me, you should have locked all doors, and you would have not been interrupted. Your second failure, you should have killed Lilith with the goddess slaying weapon at your hands when you had the opportunity. But you got too eager for fighting. That is your second failure, and I am done with you. Then he raises his arms, and in this short, scary scene, points upward, and with one shout, take them all. During the commotion of which is going on, The Dark Lord's advisor, backing away slowly, feels something tugging at his armor, a invisible force, something like magnetism or something. He looks towards the Temptress and gives her an opportunity to do what he's thinking. Perhaps it's our cue to go. To go, but you want to stay here and go to the Seven Hells. The Dark Lord wouldn't listen to me, and perhaps now that I think about it, this could be our chance to repent and have a second chance in life, since we made the wrong choice long ago before the Valyrian Doom. So you have this one opportunity, second chance to live, or join them in the Seven Hells, or torment for all eternity. Doesn't take her long for her to think, throws her helmet off, and then he takes her to a tree. Hang on, there's something that's pulling at anything that is of darkness. So he cuts her armor free and it falls to the ground and somehow, in a mysterious way, moves by itself towards the crevice and all the darkness and the high gusty winds that are picking up. He then manages to drop his own while they're hanging on to a tree for dear life so they're not picked up like a hurricane wind and sucked to the Seven Hells below. Then, with the armor removed, they seem to have a little more gravitational to their feet, and they mount their horses and ride up around the corner of bushes out of sight. At this point, the gust of winds and the invisible force is so strong that even dead Legion of Doom bodies are pulled down, along with those that are still alive, though they try to run, and nothing can stop them. They fly up in the air or bounce around the ground and go over the edge into the dark abyss. The Dark Lord, though he tries to hang on, black, shadowy figures with sharp claws plunge upon him and grab him so forcefully that he can't hold on anymore, and down he goes. And so all generals of each company of the Legion of Doom and all the horde that had come about with the Dark Lord Legion Vizier Valdarr are being pulled into the ground so that no trace of them will ever be found. Well, it is done. Then he looks out towards all the rest of them. Well, what to do about you? I see so many, it's hard to choose from. Let's see, maybe I'll have some Baratheon as an appetizer, and then filthy phrase. Maybe I'll save them for last. And then the delicacies of Martells and Tyrells. But the best I want for last. All Targaryens, the main course. I can almost taste their flesh. And so thus ends the scene until the next episode.